I started my YouTube channel on September 28th, 2016, my 11th birthday. This was my Gacha OC. She was a cute clown girl with purple space buns and a poofy skirt. And these are the edits people made of my character. These are the comments I got. I was a minor. Gacha hate refers to sexual content made using the Gacha application and is typically uploaded on YouTube. It can range in content from shirtless Gacha boys and blushing girls to full-on sex scenes. It typically includes fetish content, such as inflation, kidnapping, and diapers. The main audience of this content, as well as the ones producing it, are children. I see people defend this as just preteens having hormones and channeling it into a creative outlet. This sweeps the problem under the rug. The Gacha Heat community is filled with members as young as 6 and as old as 50. The Gacha Heat community becomes a breeding ground for child predators and framing it as just kids being kids. Just waters it down. Yes, tweens have hormones, and they might have sexual thoughts, but no good can come from sharing them with strangers online. Look at these images. Can you tell which one of them was made by an adult? That was a trick question. You can't. And if you can't, what makes you think a child can? Len totally was a Gachatube with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I said was because...
Meeting. Garby or Suki?
Suki is 15 years old, Filipino. I'm also Filipino, but I'm 20. What's the age consent in the Philippines? Oh, 13. So what does that mean?
This wasn't an isolated incident. Many other large Gachatubers had their own allegations against them, sometimes even being confirmed. The scary thing is, these people only got caught because they were famous. They had thousands of eyes on them. How many predators were overlooked just because they weren't relevant? The names in the next part of this video will all be hidden. I will be talking about my own personal experience and going into the sexual harassment that was directed at me. Specifically, obvious trigger warning, we'll be talking about pedophilia. As you know, the sexual harassment started as gross comments and people making edits of my OCs. I have a speech impediment, and some people would sexualize that, saying I sounded like the DDLG kink. The people who did this got attacked relentlessly, thankfully. So when that stopped working, they found another way to sexually harass me. I was 15, and they knew they couldn't get away with sexually harassing a 15-year-old. So when I was 15 years old, they accused me of being a pedophile. I was 15 years old. I didn't really understand why they did this until I became an adult. I think they realized that if they accused me of being a pedophile, no one would care if I was being stalked or harassed. Yes, I said stalked. I had to deal with stalking. Since this video is about the pedophilia in the Gacha community, I don't think we can proceed without talking about my own allegations. This was the first quote-unquote evidence used against me. In this screenshot, I am the deleted user. You can see we are talking about Bennett from Genshin Impact. I responded making a sexual joke. At the time, Bennett was my fictional crush. It takes one Google search to see that Bennett is 16. So, yeah, that looks pretty bad. Until you look at the date of the screenshot. 5/14/2021. I was 15. Obviously, saying a 16-year-old is sexy is wrong. But to say a 15-year-old being attracted to a 16-year-old is pedophilia is obvious bad faith, and hilariously shows the baseless accusations were against me. But I chose a specific screenshot for a reason. This is a screenshot of me saying something sexual in a private chat that was leaked to the public. If they did this without implying I was a pedophile, they would get completely attacked. They couldn't just leak sexual images of a 15-year-old, so they had to make up a story where the 15-year-old was a pedophile to make sexualizing the 15-year-old socially acceptable. Furthermore, they used someone named Leaf as a source in their video. So who is this Leaf? I'm sure they're very trustworthy. Oh, look at that. They're a self-admitted necrophile. Oh, look at that. They said they wanted to torture and kidnap me, and then amputate me. But I'm sure the other people working on this video are trustworthy, and this one drew child porn. And this one said a 13-year-old made them horny. And this one said
Joked about
self-harm in the
sending
group chat of
self-harm.
minors.
So, were you at all involved in making the Musikenna exposed video?
I shared screenshots. That's it.
Okay, so when that video was made, I was 15. Did you genuinely believe that I was a pedophile back then?
Oh. No.
I would like you to address your recent actions about how you made a joke about a 6-year-old being molested.
Okay, so coming clean. I did not know the age of this child. I was joking.
This was 2 years ago. I'm sure these people have grown up and are no longer like this. But the reason I'm telling you this story is to show how much effort child predators would go through to isolate their victims. They turned the whole community against me, so if I ever spoke out, no one would believe me. I think a lot of people brush off gacha heats because of how ridiculous it is. Like, yeah, I get it. A picture of a gacha character getting inflated is kind of funny. Okay. But when we talk about gacha heat in the context of a joke, and in a joke only, it takes away its severity. To demonstrate what I mean, I looked up gacha heat on Discord and joined the first server that came up. This was a server that was completely accessible and anyone can join. And what I saw disturbed me. A 13-year-old selling pictures of themselves for Robux. A 13-year-old sending a video of themselves moaning. And the owner of the server encouraging it. I sent a private message to the owner of the server. Their responses were disturbing. Hi, do you own the Gacha Heat server?
Yeah, why?
How old are you?
Old enough.
Are you a minor or an adult?
Adult person.
Alright. Are you aware there's a 13-year-old selling thigh pics in your server?
Yeah,
A 13-year-old sending whimpering audios in your server?
I know.
If someone buys a thigh pic from a 13-year-old, what do you think they do with that image?
Not sure, and I don't really care.
Do you have sexual interactions with any of the minors in your Discord server?
What do you think I am?
Are you open to voice call? I just have a few questions for you.
Just say it in fact.
Alright. I am also an adult, and when I witnessed a child selling pictures of themselves to people who, let's be honest, are most likely adult pedophiles, my response is to report it. This is the response of any sane adult. Why are you not doing anything when there's a vulnerable child in your community? It's your server, you can easily moderate it to remove the danger.
They're just doing what they gotta.
They gotta sell inappropriate photos of themselves to predators for Robux? Their interest is they sell thigh pics and do Roblox kitten services. What kind of person do you think is buying these from 13-year-olds?
The only incels I don't care about.
If they said they were selling NSFW, would you ban them?
Maybe.
Just maybe?
Yeah.
Have there been other adults in the server that have interacted sexually with the minors?
I don't know. I forgot that server existed. I'm not even
Do
active
you
here.
not think it's your responsibility to monitor your server actively if you know it's a sexual server and a place minors frequent?
No, I could care less about a Discord server.
What if a child was getting groomed in it?
Womp womp.
What did he say?
Pedophiles, despite what people say, aren't just a small part of the gacha community. Some people would offend the community by saying it's only a small percentage that's like this. That's just not true. It took me 2 minutes and 1 Discord search to find an adult exploiting a minor. That's how rampant the problem is. That should scare you. I also messaged the co-owner of the server. They claimed to be 15. I would like to highlight just a few of their responses. Do you ban adults in your server since it is a space with children engaging in sexual activities? In response they said, not if they're hot. I said, there's a 13-year-old using your server to sell thigh pics. And they said, I support small businesses. Obviously, this person is joking and not taking the situation seriously. That points to a bigger issue. I don't blame the child for responding like this. Kids are a reflection of the adults around them. So let me say something to the adults in this community. If we treat Gachatube like a joke, kids will too. If we treat grooming like a joke, kids will too. I'm going to share a personal experience again since it's relevant, but it's kind of hard to explain. In my time on the internet, especially when I was a minor, I never saw sex as sexual. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I could only see sex and things related to it as funny, not erotic or sexy, or any of those other words. For example, if I saw an image of, let's say, a gacha character having sex with another gacha character, I wouldn't see that image as sexual. I couldn't imagine those types of images being used by anyone for any sort of sexual gratification. I'd react to porn the same way I'd react to a meme. I'm still not sure why my brain works like this. Maybe I'm so desensitized from the internet. But I know this is a horrible mindset for any child to have. Children on the internet seek sexual material and interactions because they find it funny. If you don't understand why this is a problem, let me tell you an anecdote. This happened around a year ago, so I was 17. The victims in the story were 15. I wasn't really a participant in the story, more of an observer. There was this Discord user named Dexmodos. He was, to put it lightly, attracted to minors. Note, I only interacted with him through others, so I can't tell you much about him besides what the victims told me. What he did isn't exactly relevant to the point I'm trying to make, so I'll skip over the details of that. What is relevant to my point, however, is how the children handled it. The minors messaged his mom on Facebook and told her what he did. His mom then went to the police. The sheriff said he wouldn't do anything unless one of the victims called him. One of the children, Sophia, was the one that called him. She did record the audio of the call, and I will try and get it, but for now I would just have to explain what happened in the call. Sophia called him, and as soon as he picked up, she just started laughing. This was a serious situation, but none of the children really took it seriously. Before the call, the most they did was join Dexmodo's Minecraft world and build statues of men pooping. The sheriff asked Sophia where she was from. In response, she said, I'm from Kawaii Town, Sakoi! The sheriff hung up and the case was dropped. If we treat Gachatube like a joke, kids will too. If we treat grooming like a joke, kids will too. The responsible thing in this situation would be to tell a parent, not build giant penises in the pedophile's Minecraft world. But kids don't know any better. We, the adults, should be setting the example for these children. How we talk about grooming and pedophilia will affect how children view grooming and pedophilia. We as a community need to rethink how we portray Gachatube. If we portray it as harmless, kids will see it as harmless.
So Gacha was shown in the news. Here is the video lol.
I would be totally disturbed. I would never let them watch YouTube again without me being there like every second.
Another video we found on YouTube Kids promotes human trafficking. In this video, a boy wants a pet. A man shows up with a
Lamau,
girl
I'm
who
crying.
has visible injuries all over her body. The man says she costs $400. And in this cartoon, language used threatens to kill someone and then actually follows through. All done to a catchy soundtrack.
Catchy soundtrack, Lamau, I'm dying.
It's very alarming, very scary.
I've been on Gacha community since I was 13, and I turned out fine. Wait till they find out about Gachatube.
I don't like how the gacha community responded to this news outlet because they kind of had a point. Like, imagine you're babysitting a kid and you see what they're watching on their iPad, and they're watching a video about how a boy wants a pet, so he human traffics a woman without her consent and keeps her as a pet. Like, I don't think we should be making fun of that news outlet because they do have a point. I think that content is disturbing for kids to watch. And you can't say, well, I watched that as a kid and I turned out fine, because some didn't. I think if you show kids sexual content at a young age, and this is scientifically proven, they will become desensitized to it, and it also makes the kids easier to groom. At the end of the video, he mentions gacha heat, like, oh, don't let the parents hear about gacha heat. But as we established, gacha heat is a problem. In gacha heat spaces, real children are being groomed. And I think if we make videos like this, dismissing all the problems in the gacha community as silly little jokes, we're gonna be normalizing it. Now that we've established that gacha heat causes real tangible harm, let's take a look at some of the gacha videos people post, so we can get an idea of the content that children are viewing. This video is called In Love with My Teacher Gacha Club Mini Movie, and is by a Gachatube of over 100,000 subscribers. So, with a sizable audience, I sure hope it has an ending where the teacher rejects her advances. Right?
maybe the story will still have a good ending. Maybe the teacher will get arrested or fired for dating students. This can still turn back around. Let's keep watching. The video creator tries to throw it in at the end that Glia is 20, but no, she's not. Okay, so it's pretty obvious throughout the whole video that she's in high school. I mean, she's calling her teachers teachers, not professors. And it's very obvious she's meant to be a high school student. And at the end they just thrown in, oh, she's 20, to make it seem okay. And the way the brother said, well, he's just a substitute teacher, not your actual teacher, that's not a good lesson that you should be telling to your 100,000 kids in your audience. And I can say that the person who made this was probably a minor. And minors make cringy videos, but where did this person get the ideas from? And you're looking at the comments. People are saying that it's so adorable. And people think this is romantic. Now let's say, hypothetically, Glia was actually 20. Okay, we can play pretend. I still don't think that's okay. When, even if a college student were to date their professor, there's still a power imbalance there. Even if it's technically legal. But even in some colleges, if a student dates their professor, they could both get thrown out of the college for that, for conflicts of interest. So this is just not a good lesson to be telling a young audience. And let's be face it, the audience of these videos are young. Okay. Ew. Next video. Hey, just a little reminder, they're not a cute couple. He kidnapped her. I don't like how this person made kidnapping and gang violence seem so quirky. Like, oh well, he has such a pretty face. Oh, and he's right behind me, isn't he? Give me my cookies. Like, no, I know the gacha community has this like quirky humor kind of thing, but in this kind of story, it's really out of place. And the fact that their romance isn't portrayed as Stockholm Syndrome. It's portrayed as romance. And what do you think this is saying to the kids who are watching it? Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that a kid is going to watch this video and immediately think, I'm going to go get kidnapped. But over time, watching a lot of this content will ingrain into them and will affect how they see the world. That is what the studies show. Kids, what they are shown on the internet, will shape who they are as adults. Not only that, if a kid watches videos like these, they would be easier to convince by a groomer that such situations are okay. Also, I think it's a bit goofy that when the bad guy spoke, they like specified with accent. Like, I tried not to laugh when I saw that part. Like, why are you doing all that? I can't tell if they were trying to be racist, or if they were just trying to go for the stereotypical Russian Italian bad guy in a mob movie. I don't have anything else to say.
One argument used to defend these types of videos are it's just fiction. A kid isn't going to watch these videos and start trying to date their teacher. I'll give you that. But the effects of watching this content makes changes that are too subtle, so they might not be noticeable until adulthood. If you're a kid watching this, you might laugh this up. I'm sure you think you know better, and that you're too smart or too mature to be affected by this content. I thought I was smart too. But listen, this is what the data says. This has been tried and tested by professionals. You are not an exception. There is a reason the age of consent is 18. Minors aren't able to consent. Their brains are more malleable by the people around them. Let's look at the data. Here's the effects of children watching porn. Long-lasting physical and mental problems. Leads to isolation, depression, and self-esteem issues. Affects brain development. Alters morals. Confusion over healthy and abusive relationships. Lawrence mixed messages on consent. Normalizes sexual behavior. May cause trauma or even PTSD. Gacha heat counts as pornography. So all these are true for gacha heat as well. The argument fiction doesn't affect reality doesn't apply to children. It provably affects them. So what does this mean? If you're making content that romanticizes abusive relationships, and your main audience is children, it will undeniably have an effect on them in the long run. It is your responsibility as a content creator to not harm children. I understand that a lot of people making gacha videos, the ones like this specifically, are minors. But that just shows a cycle. Those kids didn't learn this stuff from nowhere. They got it from somewhere else. If you're an adult and you're watching this video, there is one takeaway I want you to have. It is our responsibility as the adults in a community with mostly children to protect the children. Don't make content that glorifies abusive relationships. Don't brush off children getting exploited as a joke. Children don't know any better, but we do. Children are a reflection of the adults around them. We are the adults. It is our responsibility as content creators to make content that helps people rather than harm people. I hope that this video can cause a change in this community. I hope in the future people will think about the content they post, and if they make a video that contains serious things like kidnapping or pedophilia, they don't encourage it. I hope when creators see gacha heat, they don't make jokes about it and address what it actually is. One sign of a child being sexually abused is hypersexuality. It is very possible that any child you see making gacha heat videos is being sexually abused at home. If you see something like this, like on Discord, and you can get any information on that person, you can submit an anonymous cyber tip if you think they are in danger. If you see something, say something, or nothing will change.